What up, though? This your boy Cuzin P, and you're tuned in to the
Spot.
spot where the ears meet the street.
Here with the players, the best. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you. Damn, I don't even know. I gotta get the shit where your ear eat. What is it? Where your ears meet the street. Where your ear meet the street. The spot where your ear meet the street.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Alaska with the spot where the ears meet the streets. I'm here with a very special guest.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Disco X, Sag Native, here on the spot where the ears meet the streets.
All right, let's get into it. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
How did you get into managing artists and putting plays together? What was your entry into the music game?
Well, I fell in love with hip hop 20-some years ago as a teenager. The culture, the fashion, the style. Back when, BET was king, 106 in Park, Rap City, Cena's World,
Yeah.
Get out of school, like 6 hours of just like studying the game, like local radio back when people used to buy CDs, Tower Records.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I had to be a part of it. My father bought me a drum machine when I was 15, you know what I mean? So bought the Tascam multi-tracker, not to bore anybody, but that's basically cassettes. I was on my Hustle and Flow tip.
Right.
We was recording on cassettes, and this was still, they were like 10 years outdated at the time. But just something I really wanted to be a part of. I went to school at Folsom Lake for a little bit, dropped out, but I did study MIDI, stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. Like I said, studied that. Dipped and dabbled into like different studios over the years, but life happens. I mean, you gotta like work a job, put food on the table.
All that. You
So
gotta
it's
eat.
like music really kind of like got put on the back burner for a while. And I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I got myself in a good position. I wasn't rich, but like I was doing all right.
Okay,
Well,
let's
I
go,
wasn't doing all,
let's go.
I was doing all right. I was doing all right. The
Yeah.
bank account wasn't hurting. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
that.
The Tinder account wasn't hurting either. You
Eh,
know what I mean? I
okay,
was doing all right.
oh.
You know what I mean?
I'm.
I think I was bench pressing over 200 at the time.
Okay.
I not the brag, but
I
I was
love
doing all
that.
right. So I was feeling pretty confident. I seen a lot of local guys having success. So I figured, shit, man, shoot. Oh, sorry, can I say that?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know.
Free.
Or can we dub it out?
We
later.
do all everything. Just
Okay.
keep going.
All
You
right,
just
I'll
do
keep going.
you.
All right, sorry. I'm fumbling.
Yeah.
I'm fumbling.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Don't stop.
But I was like, all right, now this is my chance to really like maybe invest in a couple local artists, really shoot my shot. And the only thing that's kind of funny about that now is it does seem like kind of like the internet gold rush dried up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just switched up the algorithm. It's a lot harder to get the engagement, get in front of artists. But I would say as far as like a positive, it shows that like the cats are really invested, really committed. It's not so much just kind of like a lottery or who's going to strike gold or who's going to strike oil. So it's definitely been a lot tougher the past 4 or 5 years than I expected, Like I said, and I was also overconfident. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I just figured, okay, if I figured I could like outbid anybody else in town or maybe like, stuff like that. I was all right, we're going to get the best studios. We're going to get the best beats. You know what I mean? I'm paying for XYZ. Oh, my bad. Paying for, sorry, bull in the China shop. Hold on.
Woo.
Reposition myself. You sure? You sure this doesn't look better? Sure.
What I like it.
That
It
look
look
tense?
nice.
I look nice. All right, sorry.
Be
All
my,
right, cool.
yeah, I
All
like
right.
that too.
All right, I like that
I like
too.
that.
All right.
I sometimes put this little arm up there.
Put the arm up there?
Yeah, ooh, right? That
Yeah,
feels
now we're
good.
talking.
Yeah,
Now we're
feel
talking.
me? Yeah.
We'll go back to stage.
You said you're from here?
Sacramento.
Yeah. Do people ever say that you sound like you're from New York?
I used to get called Tommy all the time.
Okay.
I used to get called Tommy because like breathe through. Yeah, no, I get that all the time.
Are you Italian?
No, opposite.
I don't know.
I'm
like
Irish.
I see the red.
Yeah, I'm Irish.
But I don't know. I
guess-
feel like I want to get some pizza from you, and I don't know, like taxi. I don't know.
No,
You
I
make me
just-
want to yell at the taxi, or you kind of make me a little enraged. Like you get me mad. I don't know. Am I mad? Am I don't know.
I do.
How you doing? How you doing?
No,
I shouldn't have wore a dress today. I feel like I'm with one of the guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
No,
That's just how I feel right now.
No, just breathe through my nose. No, like I said, I used to get that all the time. East Coast, New York. But like I said,
Yeah.
Irish gets the second. Guess the
yeah,
second.
Irish. I like.
Yeah, but
Irish.
what's part two?
Oh, part two,
Yeah, what's the
Irish. I see you're brown. I mean,
I'm
like
brown.
Latino a little
I'm
bit.
brown almost.
I see a little bit of brown. I see you ain't. I see a little color at the
Keep
top.
going. All
I
right,
said
what you think?
Latino.
No, almost.
No.
I'm black.
Black.
Black, I know.
You
Oh,
really?
you're shy. Yeah.
Okay, I feel it. I feel it.
am,
I
yeah.
believe it.
Black. No, you don't.
No. Oh, I do. My nephew look like you.
Okay. She got a
And-
nephew that looks like me, so it's all good.
And he got the same color as you. Like
Okay,
he,
okay.
You know,
Well, I'm glad there's more than one to me.
Yeah, I get it.
There's more than one.
Yeah, for sure.
We multiply quick.
I love that. Yeah,
Okay.
it happens.
Yeah. But no, not Italian, but no, I get that. No, like Kevin Hart used to say, I say it with my chest.
Yeah, you do. With your chest and your beard. I don't know. I don't
say it with
know. I don't
my
know if
chest.
I'm scared, if I want to like bark back at you. I don't know how I feel right now.
I
don't
get that.
know.
I get that.
You
I
get it?
that
All
more than-
right.
More than once.
There you go. What do you look for in an artist before you decide they're worth investing your time, energy, and name into?
Really, I mean, as far as investing, really somebody that's just willing to collab.
Yeah.
Because that's really, you can have talent. Obviously, I look for talent,
Mhm.
but it's like in any industry, you know what I mean? Like your attitude and your ability to work with other people comes before the talent.
Right.
Because there's a lot of talented artists, not just in Sacramento, like in the world. Like I said, any industry, any profession, but like attitude sometimes trumps talent.
Right.
Because like you have talent, but if you can't collaborate, you can't work with people. And since the projects I put together, I'm dealing with multiple artists. You know what I mean? Like it is a small operation. We're small artists trying to get it out the mud together. But there's 3 or 4 or 5 other people there. So I got to make sure everybody's like in sync, headed in the same direction. I can't have one person that's more about them than they are like the crew. I mean, not to sound corny, like it's a team, but it's got to be, we got to be moving the same direction.
I mean,
I can't have 4 people going this way and one guy's
Right.
going that way. And it's just like, and being in the position we're in as like trying to break into the industry, the margin is for error small for anyone,
Right.
but especially when you're like trying to get out the mud, when you're in the position we're in, like I said, we got to like, it doesn't take much to sink the ship.
right.
And sadly, I feel like there's a lot of people that rather be captain of a sinking ship as long as they can be captain.
Right.
I'm
yeah.
not so much about being the captain, just get me back to shore. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I
Like,
just-
as long as we can all get to shore, or you get me home, then it's fine. But a
I
lot of
know.
people rather, like you said, they rather sink as long as they can be captain.
Right.
So-
Oh, I love that's a great analogy.
No, sure. And sadly, I've seen it. So, when I do reach out or I do approach an artist or entertainers like in town or locally, I do like, first thing I do, I kind of look for somebody that I feel has some level of charisma, some level of skill, some talent. But I mean, are they going to like actually pull up to the studio? Are they going to pull up to the show? Are they going to be on some, what? You know what I mean? Are they
Right.
really? So it's more attitude over talent is what I look for.
I love that. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Are you gonna put in the work?
Exactly. Put in the work and then can I rely on you? 'Cause
Yeah,
like I said,
can I
even
rely-
me,
yeah.
even here on the podcast, like I could have pulled up at 8:45. I had y'all
I'd
sitting
have
here
been
for yeah,
mad.
exactly.
I'd been mad and
I'd
drunk.
been- exactly, mad and drunk. Yeah. Story of my life.
Right.
Story of my life. Put that
Same.
on my tombstone.
Okay. We'll be right next to each other. Both twinsies, 2 peas in a pod.
Exactly.
How do you know when an artist has real potential versus just having one hot song?
Well, if you have a hot song, that's potential. Like
Okay.
that's hard. It's like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I cranked out a few songs, a few projects past 4 years. None of them popped. I mean, I'm still at it. So like,
Yeah.
if you're able to gain any momentum, any buzz, that's potential. I mean, that's something. That's something. Worth to pat yourself on the back, brag about. But you don't want to be taking victory laps. Like I know guys that okay, you did something, you got a little bit of momentum. That was 2-3 years ago. You
Right,
know what I mean?
yeah.
And you're still taking a victory lap. I get it. You got the 50K views on YouTube. That looks nice to show off to your grandma on Christmas, but and essentially that's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Like, get the bag, cash the check first, then start acting Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, if an artist did have like like I say, cracked a certain amount of views or, got things buzzing for a little bit, that is something. But like I said, eventually, stop being so happy with yourself. Stop, like throwing your own parade and let's get back to business.
Wow, I love the that hot song is potential. Like that woke me up. And I think even just for an entrepreneur, that's a great, thought process is that, something that's potential.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I think that was beautifully said.
Well, no, and I've, like I said, I've cranked out, past 4 or 5 years, I've taken my bite at the apple, a few songs, different projects, and it's tough. Well, it's tough, So yeah, if you are able to get something popping, that's something, but don't get lazy off that. Don't get content. Just don't be like, top of the world, ma. You know what I mean? Let's keep going. Let's.
Yeah, I I think that's what makes you probably a really good manager, is that you seem to understand that there are ebbs and flows, and so, and I think, and I've only met a handful of managers, maybe they're like, let's do this, but you seem very like personable and understanding, and that I think is comforting for an artist.
Yeah.
Because it is quite a bit to put yourself out there and be vulnerable in that aspect. And for you to be like, hey, if it fucking makes it, great. And if it fucking doesn't, great. We had a good time. And that, just that small support from a manager, I think could really drive an artist. So that's, to me, what kind of makes you such a great manager.
Well, thank you. And like I said, and when I consider myself a manager / producer, I'm not doing it to sound Hollywood. I'm not doing it so when people call my phone, I'm like, yeah, baby, in the stool, call you back. I'm not just trying to like rock the sunglasses and look cool on Instagram. I'm trying to get out the mud with you. I'm right there in the trenches. Ask anybody that's been in the studio with me. I'm the hardest working one in the studio, and I'm not saying that to like, I'm not saying it with my chest. I'm not going Kevin Hart on you, but I'm just saying, ask anybody that's in the studio with me, because I'm managing different personalities. I have 3 or 4 artists in the studio. I want to make sure everything's on point. I want to make sure the mix is right. I want to make sure we got delay, reverb, the drums are knocking. So like I said, it's not just like, I'm not doing it for the IG story.
Right.
I'm not doing it for the Tinder account.
Yeah.
Like
I'm here for
I'm really
purpose.
trying to get
I'm
out
working.
the mud with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's what I mean. So if you have potential, I'm glad, any artist that was able to still build a buzz, build a following, you get the 10K followers on IG, that's cool. But let's keep going. You know what I mean?
What's next?
What's next? I definitely want to put together another project. And when I say project could be anything from a mixtape to a single. You know what I mean? And I like to approach a single like a project, because that's how much energy I put into one single. I don't look at a single as just like I'm feeding the content machine. Like I'm just putting a song so I got something on Instagram, so I have something on TikTok. I was like, let's really get a budget together. Let's really get a concept together. Let's get some of the best local talent on one song that's willing to collaborate. Let's get work with some of the best videographers in town as well. And like I said, let's really have a marketing and a promo budget. Let's not just have something, okay, boom, we knocked that out in 30 minutes. Let's make 3 or 4 IG reels and move on to the next song. So next project I want to get to within like the next month or so, I want to get together like another group of talented artists and really like I said, I think now's a good time to strike, because I do feel like the negative side, the gold rush is over. But now it's time for people that was really going to put the commitment in, kind of back to what it was like 20 years ago, when you had to put the demos, when you used to have to like stand outside of a liquor store and bump your track out of the trunk of your car,
Start selling CDs.
Exactly, you know what I mean?
I love
I
that,
think we go back to that instead of just like, content, you know what I mean?
Well, and I mean, you're selling a product, you're selling yourself, and I think you lose that personality or that person-to-person interaction when you're trying to do it only over the internet. Like that one-on-one, again, this is my second time meeting you. The first time I met you, it was great. When you came in today, I'm like, oh my God, it's like my family's here again. You know what I mean? Because we already had that interaction before that, and so I love that you're saying that you guys are bringing that back, and we need to get back to that, because that is so important. And, getting out there and seeing the people and collabing and promoting one another.
Yeah, exactly. And people like to use the word collab or network just to sound cool. It's not like another thing like I'm just saying, producer, I'm a manager, this and that. Like I said, just so I could be the cool guy in the room.
Right.
No, but like networking really means, and it could be as simple as just going to a small event, going to a small show somewhere where maybe there's only 25 people at the show. But that's 25 people you shake hands with, get their Instagram, gets the phone number, build connections with. And even the word connections, makes it sound like, like I'm some guy with a cigar. Yeah, baby, we building connections. Right. That's how we do it on this side of town. We'll do lunch type of deal. No, connections.
But
I wouldn't be here at the podcast if, me and P didn't do previous, if he didn't pull up to the studio and we did a couple tracks together. Just pulling up to the video shoot. Right. On a Tuesday or whatever day. I don't remember what it was. It was definitely a weekday.
It was
definitely a weekday, But and pull up. I wasn't like, well, I got an attendance fee.
Right,
I got an
right.
appearance fee, or type of, you're gonna have to pay my cab fare type
Right,
of
yeah.
deal.
Like,
I just did
if
it off
you
the
want
strength.
me, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm coming. I'm showing love. I'm there.
Yeah, and I, originally I meet P, I meet Ghost through P, I meet Johnny through P, through Ghost. You know what I mean?
And you just keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't seem like much, but that's, and that's all just from showing up.
Yeah.
That's all I had to do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And you could really see, who wants it and who doesn't. I do quite a bit, and some people are like, oh, I want this job, and it's like, are you hungry for it? And I hear that hunger out of you. You're like, where do you want me? I'm here. I'm here, boss. And that's great, and that is, what's gonna flourish, throughout this.
Exactly.
When you put artists together for collaborations, what makes you say those two will actually work?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'd like to work with, the Drakes and the La Russells, but, that my reach doesn't expand that far. So a lot of times it's, well, thank you. Yeah, exactly. That is the goal. But a lot of the times it just goes back to that, who's going to really be willing to actually collaborate with me. So, I could lie and say, oh, well, there's this, and the X, Y, Z. But in reality, it's just like, I tapped in with him. He seems like he's willing to actually like put in the work, really actually willing, like he's really going to do it off the strength. So that's the first step. But also second, I do look for, if I'm going to have multiple artists on a song or a project, why would I want multiple artists that all sound the same or look the same?
Right.
So I'm going to intentionally kind of look for artists that have a different look or a different sound to at least keep it interesting. Because, okay, I have 3 different artists on one song, and they all, they all have, the face tats, the same skin complexion, the same sound, the same auto-tune. That's going to bore people.
Same person.
Yeah, so, the point of having multiple artists on one song is kind of like re-trigger people's attention, keep them interested,
I like that.
So that's essentially, first I look for who do I think that I can actually get to willing to collab that's not going to be on the most bullshit, you know what I mean? So
do you have to deal with a lot of bullshit with that, do you have to deal with egos and the stars, and if you do, how do you kind of counteract that?
The bad news and the good news is, the bad news is yes, because and the good news is that's only at the initial approach.
Yeah.
By the time we actually start working on the project, I've already got the actual people that actually because showing up's just half the battle.
Right.
So once I get people actually in the studio or actually start recording, or we're shooting the video, we're doing the photo shoots, we're doing whatever, the battle's, that battle's done. I got people on board. When I deal with the Hollywood egos, it's when I make the initial approach, when I do go to a small event or a show or something like that, and I approach an artist, and we'll talk, we'll do that, this and that, but it kind of doubles back to what I was saying, when we first started the interview. It's man, I get it. You gotta fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I live by that. Fake it till you make it, but don't fake it so hard that you can't make it.
Right.
You feel me? Don't get so Hollywood that you're missing out on opportunities.
Right, yeah.
Like I said, because you did have that, 2 years ago. You got up to that 50K YouTube view. You know what I mean?
And making them, what'd you say, victory lap?
Yeah, exactly. You're taking a victory lap, which is fine. But it's
5 years down the line.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay, you know what I mean? So snap back to reality, as a wise man once said. And say, cash a check first.
Yeah.
Get the bag first. Once you cash the check, you get the bag, then you have the demands. Then you're no, I need a bowl of blue M&Ms, I need 5 gallons of orange soda before I get there. 2 hookers from Taiwan, you know what I mean? Then we start talking, okay, then we'll talk. But until then, man, stop being so damn happy with yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stop with the, the album release parties. Stop with the posters and the billboards. You know what I mean? Let's get down in the trenches. Let's get down to business.
Let's get this money.
Yeah.
And then you could say
exactly.
Yep.
Hey, Cat, say, get the bag, cash the check, then
we got it.
Then you say it with your chest.
I love that. then you can
say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. You know what I mean?
In your opinion, what makes a song really pop? The music, the marketing, the timing, or the relationship?
Well, hopefully, you know, I find out what it feels like to have a song pop soon. Well,
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be on here lying to people.
still
I don't want to say, like, and just talk like the shit I just been talking, you know, act all Hollywood, you know, put the glasses on and be like, wow, you know, I have 10 platinum records planted on the wall. I'll tell you what makes a song pop.
Right, yeah.
I'm still trying to, you know, get it out the mud like everybody
You're
else.
still trying to get it to pop.
Trying to get it out the mud.
It's
but
popping.
I do think, really, it's like most things, you know, hard work. Marketing does play a role, just for the fact that, like, trying to get engagement isn't what it used to be. You know, it's not the days of like, oh, Justin Bieber was just some kid in Canada posting songs on YouTube, you know what I mean? And he got all these eyes on his music. They've really kind of switched up how, you know, the reach for especially small artists.
Man.
So you definitely...
Capitalism.
At its finest. At its finest. No escape. No escape. But so for that reason, you do have to have a certain, like, something set aside as far as just promo.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be some outrageous budget, but it's just kind of like, it circles back to what I was saying earlier, just like when I work on a single, I'm not doing it just to feed the content machine. Yeah. Because it's not like, no, we're just going to, like, put 45 minutes into this song and then boom, cut it up into a bunch of IG reels. You know, it's just like I said, man, you really got to strike big now for that reason. You know, you really got to, like, step to the plate, try and knock it out the park, because, like I said, the engagement isn't there. Right. So when you go into a song, now I do feel like you do have to have something set aside. It's like, okay, we're putting this as far as meta ads, or we're putting this as far as, like, we're going to pay, you know, a content team, you know, to run our ads for us like that. So, yeah, to make a song pop, it's like anything. You need, obviously, bro, you need talented artists. You need a good concept. And, yeah, you do. You do have to have something set aside for promo, you know.
Cool. Yeah. I think that's a really good trick of the trade. I feel like you've given me like 3 or 4 tricks of the trade. I almost said one earlier, but we got long-winded on something else. But you are definitely giving tricks of the trade, and I think that's a really good one.
I'm trying. This is my first podcast. How am I doing? Am I sweating? You know, I'm bald. You know, I have nothing there. I have nothing there to catch the sweat. I have nothing there to catch it.
I'm just kidding.
How am I doing? All right. Position. Have a mess. All right.
Yeah. Make sure you remember. Boom, boom, don't.
Right, so, yeah, exactly.
There you go.
There you go. Pop my collar.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
little pop.
Oh my God, yeah, throwback.
You. All romantical and all fancy today.
I'm the fancy type.
I like it. What's the biggest mistake you see independent artists make when they're trying to build buzz?
Well, exactly. It's kind of reiterates what we just spoke about. Like, that's the thing. You're trying to build a buzz. You're trying to build something. Yeah. So don't limit yourself. Stop saying no. You know what I mean? Stop, like, you're not going to get further by doing less. You know what I mean? Like, even there's so many, like, events that I've gone to that, like, okay, I'm going to admit that I was somewhat disappointed. Didn't turn out, weren't as big as I thought they'd be. But I feel like I'm still better for it. If I was just sitting at home playing Minecraft, you know, smoking a vape, you know, like, that doesn't increase your chances. Right. So stop saying no to the studio. Stop saying no to, like said, a small event. Stop saying no to a photo shoot. Right? It's no's going to get you no results. Right. You know what I mean? That's what no gets you. Saying no does not increase your chances of making it in this incredibly tough industry.
For real, guys, this man is giving you the tips of the trade. So, like, I hope you guys are listening.
It's true.
Because it's more than an interview. He's definitely telling you what he's looking for in these artists, and you want someone like him to, you know, be part of your team. So, yeah, Well, then you got to look at it. It's reported that Universal Music Group makes more than $50 million a day. Wow. So that means they have the top resources, the lawyers, songwriters, producers, engineers, studio time. So if you're a kid that's just going to record on his laptop in his mom's basement and think you're going to compete with that, that's the industry. $50 million a day. That's what you're up against. Yeah. So it's just like, so saying no and doing the least is not going to beat $50 million a day, because that's the competition. And bare minimum, you're going to be connecting with people, getting your name out there. Like, man, my friends don't like going out with me because I'm telling everybody that I have a beauty business. Because I'm like, what else am I out here for? Like, yes, I like to do all these other things, but like, yeah, like, we got to keep working. The work never ends, and that's what I hear you saying. Yeah, and then also what I noticed, bring back to what's, you know, small independent artists, everybody's thinking that Jay-Z's pulling up for them. Everybody's thinking it's going to be a dude in a Ferrari with a 3-piece suit, champagne, and a suitcase full of money.
those guys are investors.
Mm-hmm.
They're not builders, right? They show up after you build the brand,
Yep.
after you have
What
momentum.
you got.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So usually the person that's going to help you get to that next level is going to be right there with you, getting it out the mud.
Yes.
He's not going to he's not going to drop out of a helicopter,
Nope.
you know what I mean?
He's
And
as gritty as you
yeah,
are.
exactly. You know, but so that is a mistake, I think. You know what I mean? Guys do a small show and they're thinking, like I said, yeah, they think they're going to get the La Russell treatment.
Yeah.
Jay-Z and Beyonce's pulling up to sign them to Rock Nation.
Yeah.
Which could be down the road, but like I said, those are investors.
How are we getting there?
Yeah, those are investors. They're
Yeah.
not builders. So if you want to build, you have to build with somebody that's down there in the trenches with
Right. And you have to build before someone wants to invest in you.
you. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so that would say the mistake. You know, like you said, you're building the bus. So let's build it. Stop waiting for somebody to, like I said, pull up in the private jet and take you to Taiwan, Dubai, you know,
Yeah.
sign the paperwork. That comes later.
Yeah. And if you just sitting there waiting, ain't nothing finna come to you, baby.
Exactly.
Shit, you
Exactly,
can be
bro.
waiting forever.
This ain't the bus stop, bro.
Shit, no.
This the rap game.
That part. The bus is
Yeah.
done for the day.
Yeah, bro. This the rap game.
Rap
you know what I mean?
game, okay. Be honest. I don't think you'd be anything but honest. Do you think Sacramento, Northern California artists support each other enough? Or is the politics holding the region back?
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, that's just the nature of it because, you know, it's not just in music, but that's for us, sadly, for like a lot of neighborhoods or communities, that's the real life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard. Say if you did want to put together a small show in a certain part of town, there's some people that aren't welcome in that part of town. They got real issues with people on this side of town. So it's going to be kind of hard to just tell them to put aside their differences or, you know, the politics, as you say, you know, for 2 hours.
Right.
You know, and even, you know, R.I.P. Nipsey, you know, Nipsey was doing his thing with YG. You see that Lefty Gunplay, you know, did the track with Kendrick Lamar, pushing the black and brown unity. So there are examples of that where people put the politics down and collab together. But that's usually after the money gets there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
That
that's
makes
usually
sense, yeah.
like you know, that's the most important
Right.
the most important color of a black.
They're not just coming together.
Yeah.
There's a behind the scenes.
No, well, I don't want to say no. I wouldn't say that they're not coming together, but the most powerful color in the world is what? Green.
Right.
Not black,
Yeah.
white, or red and
Right.
blue. So that makes it a lot easier.
Right.
When you're at a small level, when you don't
Right.
have those kind of big checks, you don't have that big
harder.
bag, it's a lot harder for people to put to get people to put the politics down.
So do you think the politics does?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Of
there's
course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, even say you're recording in a certain part of town. How are you gonna get people from another side
Right.
of
to get
Sacramento
there.
to feel comfortable
Right.
pulling up? You know, like they might not say you run, like I said, you run a real small operation. You got a little setup in your apartment. They might not even want to come to the complex.
Yeah.
They might not even get to the apartment. They might not get up the stairs first
You
before
might not make it.
before they get pressed by
Right.
somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sad. It's just kind of like a nature of the culture a little bit. And like I
Nature
said,
of the culture.
well, it is, you know what I mean? And like I said, I wasn't throwing shade when I brought up, you know, like the Nipsey and the YG and the, you know, Lefty. But like I said, that's a lot easier when, you know, you
Right.
got the bag to throw in front of it.
Right. I didn't even think about it in that aspect because yes, it's a lot easier, but also with that bag comes trust.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're not going to be setting me up.
Yeah, yeah.
You feel me? Because you got a couple of dollars and we got people watching. You feel me? So, I mean, like there's more that comes with the green. So I
Yeah.
totally hear that. So I agree.
Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's harder, managing the business side of artists or managing personalities and egos?
Well, as far as the business side, you know, I could lie to you. Like, I'm still getting it out the mud. I'm still in the trenches. So as far as the business side, that part's easy because there hasn't really been much to worry too much about because, like I said, once again, once you get the bag, once you get the check, that's the business side. As far as the business side, it's just, you know, I mean, I handle like copyrights and I do know like the basic package of, you know, the entertainment industry. like I would advise anybody, you know, in Sacramento, if for whatever reason, if they, you know, somehow do come across like a big contract, to call somebody other than me, because, you know, like if the contract's about that thick, you know, you're gonna need somebody that's more in depth, you know.
You need someone with glasses.
Yeah, you need some. Yeah, you need
Like,
some.
he ain't got the glasses yet.
You need someone in glass. So as far as the business side, like that part's easy because like there's really, like I said, there's not too much to really like build conflict, right? Like there's no reason for people to be like fighting over, you know, shares or who's getting this or that. But it has, like said, double back to the whole ego thing, and that's not so much as far as like on the project. It's just like when I'm making the initial contact, you know, and it's just like everything we said before. You know, people are expecting, you know, to get the Lil Russell treatment.
Right.
People are, you know, they're faking it so hard they can't make it. You know, they're saying no when it's way easier to just say, yeah, I'll pull up.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's like I've been to events and I've been to shows, I've been to studios that, you know, didn't necessarily go the way like I expected or one as big as I expected. But the only thing I lost was gas. You know, the only thing I came out of was gas.
I'm
you
okay
know,
with that.
it wasn't,
That works for
you
me.
know, people, they feel, I'm starting to feel like they get so worried thinking they have so much to protect. And it's just
Right.
like, once again, it just goes back. Get the bag, cash the check, then worry about your brand, then worry about your creative democracy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or whatever it
Yeah.
is that's holding you back from just literally showing up.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's literally whatever that is, you know. So like I said, the business side, and I won't even try to run like I said, I went to Harvard or anything. But I do feel
Wait,
as
you didn't? I thought you did. Pete told
Stanford.
me you did. Oh, my bad. Stanford.
Stanford, yeah,
I got
I-
Harvard, Stanford.
Stanford,
I get
yo.
them
Stanford
confused.
made my mama proud.
Okay. Hey, mama. How you doing?
Made my mama proud. But no, I do think as far as like the most local artists that I am more like well versed in like the business side, because I bet if you interview a lot of artists here in Sacramento, they can tell you that there's two forms of copyrights. You know, you have your mechanical rights and you have your intellectual property, which mechanical is basically like the actual sound recording. Well, if we were to use like a popular song, like, I don't know why this comes in my head, like the Beyonce, Put a Ring on It.
Oh, my God. I was going to do that.
Ah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not how it goes.
But there's actually a copyright for that actual sound recording.
I couldn't do it because there's a copyright.
Yeah, you can. Sorry, y'all.
You see how I need
We
that?
didn't have the
y'all?
budget for it. We didn't have the budget for it.
Okay.
But there's another copyright just for like the intellectual property, which is basically just like the concept, like the actual song, like, putting the lines together. So, yeah. So that's
My
those
Google
your
was still up, my bad.
It happens. It happens.
Has it happened to you before?
All the time.
Oh my
All the
gosh.
time. I told you, like I
Shit.
said, what did we
It's
say at the
hard.
beginning, bro? We turn up on Tuesdays. You know what I mean? We turn up on weekdays.
Going up on a Tuesday.
Exactly. So yeah, but that's just a kind of a prime example. And sorry, mess up, y'all. I was doing pretty good. It's hard being bald, bro. Am I sweating? Can
It's
y'all see?
hard being bald.
Just let me know. I'll grab a paper towel.
It's
I should
beautiful.
brought a
No, you're
paper towel.
great.
No,
You're
I
great.
feel like I'm just sweating. I
No,
feel like I'm
not
like
at
a pig.
all.
I'm trying to play it cool.
No,
This is
you
my first podcast. I'm trying to do the Andrew Tate. Do you have a cigar by chance?
A scar?
A cigar. Do you?
My
All right.
finger.
They say, okay. I'm just trying to look cool on camera.
Wait, don't pull it.
I'm just trying to look cool on camera, bro.
You're
You out here.
You're so cool.
Well, it's just, you're busting my cherry here. Like, this is my first damn podcast.
It wouldn't be
you
my
know?
first cherry.
All right, you lost. Did I fuck up? My bad, y'all.
It's okay.
My bad, y'all.
You are dismissed. No, I'm just kidding. Have you ever had to cut somebody off business-wise, even though they were talented, because they were too inconsistent or difficult?
Not necessarily cut them off, but, like, this is an incredibly tough industry. You know what I mean? So it's, I view it like the Squid Games almost. You know?
Oh.
So if you're just not really gonna put the effort in getting over the finish line with me, then I gotta keep going. Like, it's not, I don't have like any funk with anybody outside, or like if I see them, then like if we just stop working together, it's just because maybe it wasn't a good fit, or like we weren't moving at the same pace.
Yeah.
And it's like the margin for error is incredibly small. For anyone, but especially when you're at this level, especially when you're trying to break into the industry. So if sometimes it could be creative differences, or it could be just a misunderstanding. Maybe some people just do enjoy it for the IG story.
Yeah.
Maybe it is just like therapeutic for them, you know what I mean, for music. And
Yeah.
they're not really trying to break into the industry. They just kind of enjoy being able to express themselves, which is fine. I respect that. But you gotta understand, like, it's Squid Games. I gotta get across the finish line.
Yeah.
I can't. So
I ain't
it's
finna
serious.
die.
Yeah, well, you know,
Hey,
it's
we all finna die.
Well, no,
so you
it's-
gotta come on.
it's serious.
Come on.
This is
Yeah.
one of the toughest industries to break into,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I get it. If you're just more into the open mic karaoke night, I
Mhm.
respect that.
That's me because I can't sing.
no,
That's
what
me.
I'm saying, like,
I'll
I need,
fuck up a karaoke night.
like, I'm all in, and if you're gonna be at the table with me, I need all in too. I need
Yeah.
you having your cards on the table too. So there are artists that I don't necessarily collaborate with anymore, but it's not really hard feelings. It's just like we were moving at a different pace.
I love that.
You know, so.
That's great. What's one thing about the music industry that's fake behind the scenes that fans would be shocked to learn?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's fake, but it's kind of like what we've been talking about, that there's a lot that goes into just making one song.
Yeah.
You know, like you could see, you could listen to Rihanna, you could listen to Taylor Swift, you could listen to.
Sorry.
Well,
Oh
you
my
know,
God, no politics, no biases. My bad. I just
Well,
the TS.
I'm
I
throwing
can't.
names. I'm throwing names.
Ooh, I
Okay,
can't.
great.
The TS. Okay.
But there's a lot of artists. There's so much that goes into just like one song. There's usually, you have the engineers, you have the producer, you can have somebody that, not necessarily the producer, but they made the beat, or they put the 808 kick drum in there. There's multiple people just working
Right.
on the beat. There's somebody that wrote the hook. There's somebody that could have wrote the verses. There's somebody that did the choreography for the video. So, you'll see the name, you'll see the Drake or Taylor Swift. Or
Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I can't. I'm
or
not.
Billie Eilish, or
Oh, I like
anybody,
her.
anybody.
I'm just not a
Jelly Roll.
Ooh, I love me some jelly
Yeah.
roll. Ooh,
But,
somebody told
Yeah.
me.
Exactly. And I don't know how much, each artist has involved, but I'm sure if you did do the research, that's just how it is. That's for most people, that there are multiple individuals, whether it's the mix, whether it's the
Right.
master, whether it's like said, you can have a beat, and there's literally people that are putting the piano keys on. There's literally people putting the kick drum. There's some people that are putting the 808s on there. You have a producer that's saying, let's add this sample, let's dub the hook this way, that way. So I wouldn't say it's fake, but I don't know if a lot of people know, like, how much of a team it takes just for that song that they have on their playlist, or the song that they love so much on the radio. Like, yeah, there's only like one artist that's titled on the song, but it took 10 or 12 people to make that song.
Thank you for putting that in perspective for us, because I think, like, I definitely could have put those together, but I don't think I've honored and appreciated the whole team that comes into some of my favorite songs. Like, I'm a music lover. I love my music, and so that understanding just showed me that there's so much more that comes to this one artist that I love, you
Yeah.
know, and that we need to give homage to all of the great artists that built this one entity that helps me sing my soul out when my boyfriend
Exactly.
breaks my heart. I'm just kidding. He never
It happens.
has.
Oh.
He hasn't.
Has it?
She has.
Oh, I know about that. I know.
Girls are heartbreakers.
They are. They're good at that. Why is that?
God, I don't
Why
know.
is that? Goes back to the Adam and Eve days.
Shit,
goes
I
back
guess.
To the goes back to the
That
Garden of Eden.
part. The
Okay,
apple
yeah.
shit.
I feel like it. I feel like
know.
it. I feel like story of my life.
First of all, Eve get on my nerves. Periods.
I'm
but
always
that's
getting
a
tricked
whole
into
nother.
eating apples.
Shit.
I'm always getting tricked into eating
Are
poisonous
you?
apple all the time.
all the time.
All the time. I just keep falling for it.
Damn it! You gotta
know.
find. Get an orange.
I like apples.
Get an orange.
I know, right? I know.
When it comes to paperwork, splits, contracts, percentages, what's the biggest lesson artists need to learn before it's too late?
Well, there's some ways to go about it. Like, obviously, there's some ways. That's a stupid statement. But there's multiple
Nothing
ways.
stupid here.
That's stupid to say. But there's multiple ways you go about it. And, like I said, if you're trying to break in, you're down here, you're trying to get some momentum, and you're working with people that you're familiar with, you could do it off the strength. You could do it off a gentleman contract
Yeah.
if you're working with people. But what you got to understand is See, people are kind of worried about the whole AI. I don't like to be ignorant to talk about things I haven't really researched, but like,
Yeah.
oh, AI could take somebody's face and they take somebody's voice, and they're not going to get compensated for it. You understand? That's been going on before AI.
Right, yeah.
Like,
AI's been around.
yeah, but I mean, a record label, like somebody could own, you could record something, you could be in the video, that could be your face, that could be your voice. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get paid for it.
Wait, talk about Taylor Swift. I mean, we could just,
Well,
I mean, because that was her. She
Yeah.
had an album that she wanted to release, and her producers wouldn't let her release it because it
Well,
wasn't hers.
Well, you can shout from the rooftops. You can be like, oh, but that's song. That's my face. That's my
Yeah,
voice. Is that? And you're really only owed what the paperwork says you're owed.
Mhm.
So, one, if you don't have the paperwork. Two, it's basically whatever you give away.
Yeah.
So not even the devil could take your soul unless you sign it.
Right.
I mean, you got to sign it away first. Not even the devil. It has to be signed away. So like whatever you agree to, or if you didn't do the paperwork, you're only owed what you legally have claim to.
And are you reading the fine print? Are you reading this paperwork? Like, not
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I know you are, but like these artists, are you taking the time to understand what you're about to sign?
Exactly. And suggest, like said, coming from like the level I'm at or trying to build up, I suggest what they have, it's simple. It's called a work for hire, which is basically, it's just a form. It's almost not like a release form, but it's almost a receipt, and it's very easy. It's you could download the template from the internet, print it out, dub in the blanks on what you agree to. So, you could agree, it could be you and somebody, you agree to get 25% of the royalties.
Right.
50% of the publishing, whatever. And suppose, like I said, if you're going to go up against Universal Music Group, who makes $50 million a day, they may have a team of lawyers that could crumple it up in front of your face.
Yeah.
But supposedly it holds up in court, and it's like the simplest form. It's one page. It's basically a receipt, just also for more peace of mind. Because really, I feel like, once again, if you're trying to get out the mud, you're trying to get out the trenches, a lot of it's done on gentleman contracts or just doing it off the strength, dealing with
Right.
people that you're familiar with. But the simplest form, so you don't have to have print up a contract, or you don't have to pay for a lawyer, which most small artists are dealing with a small budget.
Right.
Do you want to start paying, a couple $1,000s to have, somebody go over something when you can easily just print out the work for hire? It's a page, dub in, how much an artist got paid for. Oh, I'm Joe Smo. I got, here's $500 for a verse, in return, 10% of the royalties. And so to basically answer the question, just like I said, you're basically you're only owed what you agreed to. You're only owed to what you signed. So that's in any industry, I would say.
Yeah.
But I highly suggest the work for hire form, because it's the easiest. Literally, you could download it. There's multiple websites, print it out, dub in, name, signature, holds up. Maybe, like I said, I don't work for Universal Music Group, not yet.
Not yet.
But
Yeah.
it's probably like the best protection and peace of mind a small artist can have.
I like that. And again, you guys are getting these tips and tricks of the trade right here. So listen to what this man has to say.
I'm gonna leave my Cash App. Y'all can leave me something
that
that's
too,
free.
that.
This free legal music. Well, not really free. You should be paying, but it's free. But feel free to
But
donate.
yeah, and I mean, if you need a manager, producer, this is the man that you need to be hiring.
It's true. She ain't never lied.
Ain't never lied. Long term, what are you really building? A management company, a label, a brand, or a legacy?
Really, be honest, I much rather build a brand. I much rather have like a DJ Khaled, DJ Drama, what he had in the 2000s, because I feel like a brand is a lot easier for a bigger company to invest in, to build momentum in. If I wanted to build a label or a management company, I'd have to have multiple artists, and I would like to be involved in like the actual production of the music. I don't want to manage someone who has 50 songs that I really had no involvement in, and they're all trash.
Right.
And then, yeah. And then, I mean, I'm not being harsh, but, it's just like I much rather build like a Disco X brand. Like I said, something like what DJ Drama, DJ Who Kid had in the 2000s, something that a big label or a big company would feel comfortable getting behind and invest in. Modern labels, I feel like it'd be hard to start like a modern label, because basically what a record label is really basically a bank. you know, and then if you do want to say, okay, you want to start up your own record label, that means you're financing everything. That means you're handling all this paperwork that we were talking about as far as splits and this and that. So ultimately, I would really just like to build like a brand, like I want to build a Disco X brand that multiple artists. Well, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'd much rather have that over a record label, because I just feel like without the physical sales now, that streaming and the major labels have really killed off small labels anyways. The small labels tell you that, you know, because majority of streaming goes to the major labels in general, you know, so without like being able to like sell a CD in Tower Records or get those digital downloads from Apple Music, those 99-cent downloads, it's just really an uphill battle. Yeah. Which that's not even like, you know, anybody in the music industry will tell you that. So that's not really like a gym, you know what I mean? That's just kind of like basic knowledge. So yeah. How am I doing? How am I doing, P?
You did great.
I don't believe you. I'm self-conscious.
So proud of you.
It's terrible. You need to bury this. You need to bury this like the Jumanji board game.
No,
all right. No one should
Jumanji.
see this. This should be like The Ring, bro. Like if anybody lays eyes on this, they're dead in 7 days.
I look too
feel
cute for them to bury that.
No.
What are you talking about? You could go somewhere. Nah, all right, y'all. This is Alaska with the spot where the ears meet the streets. Thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for
If you have anything coming up, go ahead and let that camera know what we got going on.
Just really no certain date. You just count that I'm going to be back in the studio. I'm going to be putting in the work. I'm going to be getting it out the mud. Anybody that wants to get down in the trenches with me, you know where to find me. That's Disco X, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Holla at your boy.
Let's go. Yeet.
This brother from Detroit.